What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
The Matrix questions things like reality and fate. So, we are here today to dig into the question, what made this film great? Before we get into it, if you're new here, why not consider subscribing? We dive into films like this all the time. So, ring the bell, that way you don't miss out when we talk about the others in this series. With that out of the way, let's shoot right into this, spoilers and all.
We don't know who struck first, us or them, but we know that it was us that scorched the sky.
This story is just amazing. I am one of the rare people that, despite being old enough to see and grow up with these movies, I didn't see them until I was an adult. I knew nothing going in other than it was a raved sci-fi film. Immediately, I was hooked. The film just throws you right into the world and makes you catch up later. We see Trinity being a badass along with an all-knowing Morpheus, and then we get thrown into the life of Thomas Anderson, or better known as Neo. I guess we can't forget about Agent Smith. Neo is a great character since he, like us, has no clue on what the hell is going on. Using him to handle the exposition was very well done. They also do a good job of not dumping too much on us at once. The film continuously throughout the film drops little questions or ideas the entire time, making you want to know more. The story also has a lot that is unsure, like who started the war between humans and robots, and how much control does the Matrix really have on our lives. Since we are talking about humans and robots, we might as well mention that this movie takes place around 2199. At least, that is the rough date the Resistance believes the year should be out of the real world. But in all reality, this movie was released in 1999, and the pure fact of the action, story, and just pure design was unique and very well thought out. The movie aged really well. Even the concept of the humans living underground and their means of hiding from the squids while fighting their way back home, they utilize waste systems and sewers, as well as Zion, their new and last home, is close to the Earth's core, was a great way of informing us where the humans are remaining safe for the time being while they build their power to fight back, or rather, wait for the chosen one. What about the aspect of control? The Matrix projects us into what it wants us to feel or think. It tells everyone how to taste, smell, feel, and attacks the electrical signals to continuously keep the humans as a battery. We as humans in the Matrix recharge their fields of living as AIs. For this to continuously harness that power is by making sure we feel stimulated by the projections. This was such a unique capture of how we are to be controlled. When we break or awaken, we are discarded. This concept literally makes you think, could this happen? Are we being controlled already? It was also interesting to have the added layer of following the white rabbit like Alice. Neo expresses,
You ever have that feeling where you're not sure if you're awake or still dreaming?
which is exactly what Alice feels and wonders when she stumbles upon Wonderland. But why the white rabbit? Alice follows the rabbit to experience her own journey in her dream. Well, the similar action takes place for Neo. He is experiencing his own path or journey while in a dreamlike state. As these events stamp who he really is to finding his true self, he in turn is also losing his innocence of the world he thought was true and basically stumbling upon the knowledge of destiny instead. In other ways, rabbits also represent love. So does that mean his connection with Trinity is stronger? Probably. Just my thoughts here.
Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
Morpheus plays a major role for this film. He is a perfect opposite for Neo's character when it comes to how they think. Neo hates the idea of fate and not being able to control his life, while Morpheus dedicates most of his life to finding the one and how things were destined. He is so confident that he blindly follows this process and almost gets himself killed. I mean, he doesn't even let Neo speak when he tries to tell him that he wasn't the one, soon after he speaks to the Oracle. Morpheus is also one of the most knowledgeable characters in this film. He delivers explanations at a reasonable pace, and he is great at giving thought-provoking questions as well as dramatic monologuing. He is always dramatically monologuing. He is a great leader, and you see him care about his crew in his own way. His fighting skills are also amazing. He holds his own on numerous occasions, hence why many consider him a dangerous man. Agent Smith clearly views him as a threat because when he initially interacts with Neo, he has him think that Morpheus is a terrorist that needs to be brought to justice. Rather, he isn't a terrorist, he is more like an activist. He wants to change the world and protect it. The only way he can do so is by having Neo see his true path down Alice's rabbit hole. The bigger portions of deep discussions or concepts were from his mouth itself to help lead Neo and his crew. When Neo is trying to understand what is happening, he helps him to understand what the Matrix is by saying,
What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room.
Morpheus wants to make sure that Neo understands the full aspect of the dream he is living for the world he truly belongs in. He is physically removing the blindfold from him. Once the concept is starting to be grasped, he is sure to help Neo further along the journey to fully find where he belongs and who he is, the One. While sparring Neo in the simulation, he teaches him to free the mind and to let go fear, doubt, disbelief. He then tests him too soon with the falling scenario, but not once does he falter in his trust that Neo is the One.
I'm trying to free your mind, Neo, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it.
He continues to lead Neo in the direction until Neo realizes his own path. Neo, Thomas Anderson, the Chosen One. I love how he isn't even close to being the Chosen One until he believes in himself and accepts himself as well. A good lesson for everyone. We see Neo slowly believe in fate because of Morpheus and the Oracle, but he goes on thinking that he doesn't have to follow it. I mean, he takes control of fate to save Morpheus. In a way, Neo from the beginning was fighting for his own fate by escaping from his original liquid cocoon. We, like Neo, are questioning the whole time of what is going on. We want to know the truth just as much as he does. Learning to tell the difference between what is reality and a dream is unique for their portrayal. But the learning was the fun part. We engage in different programs and understand the concept of mental projections for the digital self in the Matrix. Technically, the information he is learning, Morpheus apologizes for freeing his mind so late in age. In a way, it is dangerous for Neo. Yet, Neo proceeds with the action of learning. We come to understand that Neo wants and craves knowledge.
How was he? 10 hours straight. He's a machine.
His understanding of the Matrix came when he was intrigued by the child bending the spoon.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth. There is no spoon.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends. It is only yourself.
Like we would see in a magic show, we would visually see the deformation of an object, or better used, metal spoon. While performing the trick, a magician will misdirect the audience's attention while the spoon is being bent. Neo must only bend his mind because the spoon does not exist. It is just a code or program in the Matrix telling Neo's brain that he is looking at a spoon. So when Neo is in the elevator and states,
There is no spoon.
Neo is then signifying his evolving consciousness in a human body and has learned the logic now needed to separate reality from the Matrix. In this moment, we see Neo's growth to finding his true self, a stepping stone to understanding that he is the One. I mean, watch him fight like a crazy man and take bullets like a champ. The action scenes were just fantastic. As a side point, Neo's romance with Trinity feels natural and not forced. It was literally a small progression. Not once did I feel like it was thrown in my face. I mean, they had hacking in common and then also being freed by Morpheus, but I really liked the slightly touched upon relationship that they are starting to build. Trinity proves to Neo that she can be a loyal partner. She insists on following Neo to get Morpheus back, and she helps him wake up from his near death. Clearly, they are powerful together now. So, how much more so when their relationship is expanded upon in the next films? Trinity is a unique character in itself. She, like Morpheus, is determined to make sure that Neo's role is fulfilled. She follows Morpheus in every request and never questions his choices. Soon after rescuing Neo, initially we do sense a form of hesitation in the choice of the Chosen One. She continues to believe he won't fall during his first freeing the mind moment, even though he does. To continue her trust in Neo, she takes actions to take care of him, like bringing him food or asking him if he's okay, and answering his questions when he is lost or confused. She also shows her commitment to believing that he is the one and will basically act as a martyr when the time comes to be sure that the world is saved. Honestly, we don't get very much dialogue from Trinity, and when we do, it feels more like facts. Rather, her actions show her caring, like I already mentioned, of giving Neo food or answering his questions. But she also shows how she is attuned to listening to him. When Neo realizes a moment of deja vu, Trinity was the first to react by wanting to know more. Is this her way of showing her interest in Neo? Most likely. But it also shows her leadership skills of making sure everyone is protected while in the Matrix. Later, when it comes time for Cypher to turn on the group, and it is only Trinity and Neo remaining on the death line from Cypher, she has a pure realization of fear, which we have not seen on her face. Cypher brings to her attention that he can tell she has feelings for Neo. She doesn't deny them either, but once Cypher is killed and they make arrangements to save Morpheus, Trinity insists that she will remain and fight by Neo's side. I mean, she was so badass to quickly learn how to fly a helicopter, it just made her even more phenomenal. We can't forget about the antagonist, Agent Smith. This movie really pushes Agent Smith as the primary villain, but we can't forget about the robots. Unfortunately, the robots don't get much of their side till later films. In the meantime, we will primarily focus on Agent Smith. He's basically the software update and is frequently going after Neo and his crew due to compiling that they are a virus to the system of living. He shifts, transforms, and somewhat replicates himself in any means possible to go after what he feels is misdirecting the Matrix. His primary existence is to destroy those ruining the control of the system he is destined to keep on track. His initial target is to go after Morpheus, because if Morpheus cannot locate the One, he cannot bring down the control. Also, Morpheus knows the codes to get to Zion. Agent Smith can further eliminate the human race by additionally going after Morpheus. Once Agent Smith realizes Neo is someone he additionally needs to watch out for, he makes it his pure effort to kill them all. To keep his initiative at hand, he makes Cypher his inside man to be sure the job will be completed. But why does he deep down hate humans so much? When he finally captures Morpheus, he expresses,
I'd like to share a revelation that I've had during my time here. It came to me when I tried to classify your species. I realized that you're not actually mammals. You move to an area and you multiply, and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. And the only way you can survive is to spread to another area.
There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague, and we are the cure. I hate this place, this zoo, this prison, this reality, whatever you want to call it. I can't stand it any longer. It's the smell. I can taste your stink. And every time I do, I fear that I've somehow been infected by it. It's repulsive, isn't it? I must get out of here. I must get free. Once Zion is destroyed, there is no need for me to be here. Do you understand?
Agent Smith is far from truthful about reasons for his primary cause. I mean, the near aggression he shows in his actions for getting to this point, and how he pushes Morpheus to a breaking point, you see how much he hates being on Earth and the reeking odor we leave in his nostrils. We get the full depth of his cause of just straight up eliminating humans so he or the AI can officially rule the world themselves. The movie does a really good job of keeping us on the villain's point of view. In general, the movies did that well, but this movie was a great stepping stone of wanting to know more of the Matrix and continue to see the AI's point of view. Plus, Agent Smith keeps things low-key cool, not gonna lie. He is borderline a Man in Black agent in disguise, which is super rad. It was cool to see that Cypher was the hidden secondary antagonist in this film. He helped in the capture of Morpheus to try and get the information about the Zion mainframe. His deciding factor of assisting Agent Smith was because of being dissatisfied with reality. He wanted to return to the Matrix. He wanted to remain ignorant to the reality of life.
I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious. Ignorance is bliss.
It was also interesting to see how against the belief in the One and following Morpheus was really not his cup of tea. He just wanted his memory to be erased. I mean, he admits his initial choosing of the red pill about 9 years ago. Overall, he preferred the Matrix, basically a comparison of what real life should be, and he was willing to do whatever it took to get back to that form of reality. Honestly, he lacked loyalty and was rather a selfish person in the end.
I know you're Neo. Be right with you.
You're the Oracle?
Bingo.
The Oracle bakes cookies?
Not quite what you were expecting, right?
I am not gonna lie, this woman is entertaining. She literally plays a mind trick within seconds of meeting her. Granted, she can because she has been around since the beginning. With that kind of age, she has the right to do whatever the heck she wants. She warns Neo of the vase and to not apologize. Then he drops it. She states,
Really going to bake your noodle later on is, would you still have broken it if I hadn't said anything?
this woman is just a pure genius. She continues to give Neo guidance and answers questions with a few riddles. But she never makes you fully lost, but rather, in a way, more knowledgeable. She tells Neo he is not the one and foretells his action of having to choose between Morpheus or himself. The Oracle does help Neo grasp that, though being the one is like love, no one can tell you you know it. In some ways, she does know that Neo is aware of his future in numerous ways. One is by him being truly the one. She just has to push him to believe it. And two, she knows that when he realizes in himself that he is the one, he will also know he loves Trinity. The human race in general is lightly touched upon in this movie, which is okay. We got brief answers of where they are, and we're able to focus on the big picture of the one and the AI that took over. We do get a small interaction with normal humans like Tank and Dozer. Having these two characters together helped us as a viewer feel grounded in the story plot. We come to understand that they were born free in the real world of Zion. This showed us that the human race was still alive and thriving and clearly needed protection, which we do get answered in the later movies. I am just going to go ahead and point out the little mouse in the room for a brief moment. Why the frick did they kill off Mouse? He was funny, adorable, and clearly smart. He made the woman in the red dress program. He elaborates on how the AI thinks the food tastes, like when they have no taste buds or have never recognized flavor. Could we be AIs if a lot of stuff tastes like chicken? This man has got his smarties today, so give him an extra one for bonus points. The good ones always die young. It's just a shame is all. Just in general, I was upset that most of the Nebuchadnezzar crew was killed in this film. Like, literally everyone died. For sure, it was a plot twist not to be expected, but it was still a slight bummer. I was super ready to see at least some of the characters continue on in the next movie, or even two. Granted, I am satisfied we kept our primary three characters of Morpheus, Trinity, and Neo, but it would have just been nice. Side points, Joe spoiled their deaths for me. When taking the initial notes for this film, he didn't write any of their names down. So I asked why. He stated they weren't important. I was like, wait, they die? Sure enough, they did. End of my side tangent.
To deny our own impulses is to deny the very thing that makes us human.
For 1999, these graphics were extremely good. It definitely needed some minor adjustments, but overall, I could not complain. The amount of detail applied to the slow motion scenes was, I'm not gonna lie, literally jaw-dropping. I seriously forgot to take notes because I was so hooked on the action. Whether it was Neo and Morpheus practice sessions or the intense metal detector entrance scene were just phenomenal. Earlier, we lightly talked about control that the Matrix has. The Matrix wants you to continue to remain locked in the program. Otherwise, it will discard you. We talked about how it keeps your senses under control, which in effect also controls your mind. We have to take this seriously because without the mind, a person cannot live. That is why Morpheus is continuously training Neo to free the mind. It is important to his growth and separation of clarity from the Matrix. Even though he needs to free himself, the Matrix can still very much take his life. I just want to take a small moment and just talk about the Alice in Wonderland theme that was a great setting up point or direction for this movie. Now, it is also just a little bit of my own interpretation. Neo is like Alice. He takes a pill. In this world of Wonderland, or Matrix, he meets very unique creatures along the way, but his rabbit hole will be Neo's journey in the Matrix. It's a dreamlike event amongst his innocent views and takes him along steps of growing. The White Rabbit, who I feel is similar to Morpheus, he is set on a specific time frame or a direction and knows that the only way of getting there is by pushing Alice or Neo forward through the dream to grow. Just for kicks, the blue caterpillar lightly reminded me of the Oracle. The Mad Hatter feels to be Agent Smith, who is basically Psycho, and the Red Queen or Queen of Hearts reminded me of the AIs. They have to know the bigger picture. Now, these are just my ideas, but some are proven and others are just a mere concept. What is nice about the movie as well is that even the clothing designs were so well done that it isn't cringeworthy to look back on the movie and think, who would wear that? The style choice of clothing is very much so still used in today's styles. Like we have said in the beginning of this video, this was a raved film for its time, and clearly it still is. Not a single friend that I have talked to has not enjoyed this film and is curious of the new one that is shortly being released. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button and click for notification reminders. Who do you think struck first, humans or machines? Are we as humans living in a virtual reality or dream? What character do you think represents someone from Alice in Wonderland? Keep watch for our next video, so stay nerdy and keep binging.
You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.